Namaste, beautiful yogis. My name is Haley, and I'm here with a story for y'all. So, I believe that somehow storytelling is one of the most easy ways, most successful ways that we can relate to each other and just enjoy each other. So I hope you enjoy this story, because it sucks, and it's hilarious, and is kind of interesting. So let's talk about Tinder, okay? I have realized in my life that a lot of the times creating, like, for my experiences for Tinder that I am now going forward in my life, is that a relationship out of Tinder, like an actual, like, you're my boyfriend relationship, doesn't work for me, and it hasn't worked for me in the past. I mean, last relationship I had from Tinder was like a very real relationship, and it just, you know, like, all relationships aren't perfect, so that one, it's just like a normal relationship, but I really affected me in a negative way from after that one. But anyway, not getting that story. I'm talking about the one that's, like, ridiculous. So what happened was, I only got like 10 minutes, I'm gonna try to make this quick. This is gonna be quick and it's gonna be crazy. So I was on Tinder, and there's this one guy, and he was just like, I'm a musician, I like love, and this, like, positive energy person, and he looked like he was, like, Instagram famous, and, like, all this, like, you know, internet, like an internet, like, potty. And he was in like the hardcore bands that I used to listen to. Like, I was just like, oh, I found something here. And then he was just like, we need to meet as soon as possible. I don't know if you're looking for a relationship, but I'm looking for a relationship, and I just absolutely, like, am enthralled with you. And I was just like, oh my god, like that part of me that, like, is kind of like, calm your horses, like, just wasn't actually talking, because all I wanted was absolutely everything that he was offering, and my brain went from, it just, you know, you know what I mean? It's like, that's just where I was at. I was just enthralled, and I thought that I was in a fairy tale, and I believed in, like, you find your soulmate anywhere. On Tinder. Maybe, I don't know. But you learn lessons, you know? And that's what this is all about, learning a big ass lesson. So I was just like, yes, let's meet, and as soon as possible, let's do it. Drove 2 hours to see him. We get to this house, and he was just like, oh, you're so much more beautiful in person. He didn't have an accent, but let's pretend he does. And then he was just like, yes, I was in this band, this emo band that I loved. And then he was just like, let's go to the pawn shop. You drive. And I was just like, okay. Oh, thanks. So, I'm enthralled with, like, anyways, I drive his ass to a pawn shop because he had no money for cigarettes or alcohol. And so then, like, we drive to the liquor store after that, and some guy would just bought, like, a $50 pair of headsets for $5. And this is me, my state of mind. Like, you would think that it's just like, a pawn shop, $5, what? And you would be like, you want me to drive? And then he gets me to drive him to the liquor store after, and you would think it's just like, the liquor store? Really? And so, but no. I was just like, yeah, let's do it. This is like you're a bad boy, and I want to be this bad girl. And I wasn't even drinking at the time. And he was busy. We connected on this part where it's just like, we're both sober people. And it's just like, and I mean, whatever. Yeah. So Like, yeah. My mind was basically already drunk. I wouldn't need alcohol anyway. But I'm not gonna bash myself and throw myself down. This is just kind of like what I was going through, and it's kind of crazy that that happened. Like, my mind was so unaware of what was really going on. So we drive back to his house. After that, he like serenades me, asks me to be his girlfriend. I'm like, this is so perfect. And I kind of thought it was like everything was going the way it was because it was perfect. I was like, this was like, reality is magical, and this is just like a magical experience, not really realizing anything else, like any red flags or sketchiness or anything. So he all of a sudden says, we need to leave right now. And I'm like, why? He's like, my roommate's having a party and they don't want anyone here. And I was like, okay, like now then all of a sudden I was just like, I want to leave his ass here and go home. And I was just like, but why? Like, why? It just wasn't going in, it was going in a really strange direction, you know? So he gets pretty busted drunk. Like, he drank 2 Four Locos. And all of a sudden I see messaging his roommate. She has hearts around her face. And I'm just like, I don't want to believe anything, and I just want to keep going with what I'm experiencing. So apparently he bought a house and it was foreclosed, and that's why he was living with somebody random right now. And so we go to the foreclosed house, and like, it just gets worse and worse and worse. It's just like, why are we here? We like just pretended like nothing was wrong. Like, it's just like in that moment he was just like, come back, let's be a couple. And then like once that moment was up, it was just like there's all these like weird odds and ends and shit. So we start getting like angry, and then he starts like screaming at me because I was just like, he was like, this is all a mistake. I'm like, how can you say that? Like, I'm emotionally being dragged by this guy, and it's just like, I don't know if I should leave, but I have feelings for him. He's just like, then he's like, we're gonna get married, I love you, you're like, I've never met anyone like you before, I can just feel it. And it's just like, he's like using all this weird shit, and it's just like every time I just was like, I want to get away from you. So, you know, weird. It was weird. And so then all of a sudden he was like, we need to leave. And I was like, we can, I guess, sleep at my house. Like, you can't come inside my house, but like, you can sleep in my car. And like, that's actually what we did. And it was very like, you know, in reality, it was really fucking weird. And my little experience of completely like fake reality, it was like the most amazing, loving experience I've ever had. Weird. And so we drove to his house the next day, back to the place where we met, the house that like he serenaded in, and had sex on the bed. And then all of a sudden this girl comes in, and she was like, who are you? And I'm like, Haley, who are you? He was like, she said, did he ever tell you we're in a relationship? And everything my inside was telling me was right. My intuition was right. Everything. I was with him randomly and said, have you ever been cheated on? And he was just like, no, have you? And I was like, not that I'm aware of. Like, just in the middle of nowhere while we were experiencing our like mind fucking manipulative bullshit. And so like, yeah, and I like what the fuck? Okay, so so I drove home. I was like, how did any of that even happen? Why am I like being mind controlled by this? And so yeah, I still wanted to end up like, days went by. I was like, don't ever fucking talk to me again. He was started like loving talking to me, and I was just like, I miss this. And then I was like, I'm going crazy out of my mind. I don't know what's wrong here. And so I went to my friend in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and her boyfriend is a therapist, and he was like, you are being like really manipulated and like, you know, just So I basically have 1 minute to talk, but that's my story, and I don't know if anyone can relate to these kind of things, but a lot of lessons to be learned, and things like life is, be careful of the too good to be trues. Life is not a fairy tale, and when it becomes a fairy tale, when just trust God, just when things are good, when you're feeling blissed out of your mind, pay attention to your chemical imbalances, and there might be something actually going on. I don't know. Ugh, I can't really give any advice, but my story, and yeah, I haven't experienced anything like that. I had I don't know. And we look back, I can look back and be like, well, I got with my middle school dreams, and maybe that's why I grew up out of middle school. Guys in bands, man. Just, they're great. I can't say they're not. But yeah, my experiences have been a little, well, that experience, they can't say, oh, guys in bands. Okay, so that guy was a little interesting. You know, if I never said I was his like lover or girlfriend or anything, that could have been like a really just interesting like lay. And I probably would have walked out of it being like, okay. But I think I have holes in my like my needs. It's just like I was so desperate for wanting a relationship and wanting to be loved that I was an easy target. I was an easy, so it's basically like being desperate for things can end up in a lot of pain